Welcome to Soto Creations, where we make your imagination a reality. I just got to the venue. I have a very long day ahead of me, but I want to tackle it one thing at a time. It is about my watch. I don't know what. It's 8:45. We just dropped Sabi off at school. She has a choir, something for choir, and I have to pick her up later. But I just want to show you guys what I'm doing today. There's a graduation party tomorrow, and I am setting everything up. All they're doing is showing up and bringing the food. They're catering through Olive Garden. But I'll show you the space. Had the elopement, and this is how I set up the space for the elopement. If you've been watching the videos, you've probably seen this already. So this is my foyer area. It's a nice sunny day today, so this is what we're working with. Don't mind all my stuff. I just dropped it off. My dad just helped me put that right there. I'll move that soon. So this is what we're working with today. We have to change the space, set it up for graduation. They're keeping this. We're going to put the food over here along this wall, probably an L shape, so I might have to switch these two around, but I'll see when that time comes. They're getting a 360 photo booth and a welcome sign, and also like a sign-in, something to sign in, so I'll put all that here. Then we have a setup here for 40 guests. We'll put their balloon backdrop over there with the cake table right over there. So that is I'm tired. I could use probably another 12 hours of sleep, but we have work to do. I want to make this special for them, as everybody, I try to, especially when I have events that I'm doing everything. It's more work, but I love it because I'm able to put in my touch on everything, and I just like that. And I have all the customers I've had who book in that way are always so happy and so satisfied. So we are gonna let's see, I'm trying to figure out the plan of the day. So I have these books, and I'll see if I can link the inspo picture for this, but we're going to create centerpieces with these books here. You already saw me design the graduation cap, I think, or I'll show you how I do that here shortly, because on that. And then we also worked on the degree or diploma stuff that's gonna go on these centerpieces. I just got here. What I'm gonna do is get some tea, start drinking my tea, and I'll move these chairs. We have to cover their chairs, but you'll see all that. If this is your first time watching my channel, welcome. I hope you will like us enough to subscribe. I say us because a lot of times my family comes to help out, and you see my kids in the videos and everything. So if you like us and you like the work we're doing and the creativity we're putting out, please consider subscribing and liking the video, and of course share. I really appreciate it. I have been trying to build the channel this year. I'm a little slow to it, but I'm committed now and I'm going for it. So you might see my face more often, but I appreciate all of you who have already been following and who love the designs we put out, and you keep coming back and watching and giving us some love. So let me figure out a plan, and I'll see you guys shortly. Okay, I got my tea. While I'm drinking my tea, what I'm gonna do is work on some designs. I have to go to Walmart or Hobby Lobby because I need vinyl. So I'm just gonna get some of this stuff done. The Cricut. So I designed these two earlier. I think I'll show you the video of that. But I'm gonna work on a congratulations for the backdrop itself. So I think you guys have seen me do this, so I'm not gonna bore you with this part. So I'll just work on that, and then I will, oh, this is work stuff. So this is the backdrop we're making. So I need to draw out all these words or design all these words, and these are the centerpieces that we're going to make. So I'm gonna type up all the words to go on there, and we will get to cutting here shortly. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And I forgot to tell you, I'm just gonna measure the width for all the words, so when I type it, because this is one of the books I'm gonna use, so I just measure how thick the letters have to be. Of course, I want it big enough, bigger than these, so it'll go from probably here to here. So I'm gonna measure that with a ruler so I know exactly how big, okay? I am using Canva to design our vinyl lettering, and I try to use similar fonts so that it doesn't look messy. To me, when you change too many fonts, it kind of ends up being messy. It's not coherent. So the same font I use for congratulations is the same one I use for class of 2025. But then I remembered that I have another design coming up, a setup that I'm going to do for graduation towards the end of May, and I'll be using letters as well, but this time it's going to be gold. So I'm going to duplicate this so I can just print the gold while I'm doing this at once. Then that saves me time for the next event. I'm trying to adjust the lettering. I lined the Daniel with the congratulations just so I have an idea of the size. The other I'm going back and forth, but the cap that you see there is for the centerpieces. So I'm just increasing the size so it can be a little bigger for the backdrop. That's me duplicating and changing the color so I know that other congratulations is for Brian, not Daniel. So that is that. Okay, we are done with the words that are going on the backdrop. Oh, I need to add another lettering for Ian's birthday. It's Ian's birthday coming up this coming weekend. Well, this is the weekend of Mother's Day. So next weekend is Ian's birthday. So I'm going to make one for him. But I'm going to go iron tablecloth because it's 9:52. I'm giving a tour at 10. So while waiting for them, I don't know if they're coming for sure because they sent me an email last night wanting to tour today. I gave them a time. Anyway, I'm going to start ironing the 4 black tablecloths that we're going to use for this graduation at the foyer. Then when I'm done, hopefully they come by that time, then at least that's done. So when Richard comes, he'll help me move the tables in and we'll work on decorating. But I'm also going to take you guys to Walmart so we can pick up a few, the vinyl, the paper to wrap the books, because we need longer paper that will just wrap the book how this one is. So like how the cover of this is exactly how I want to do it, but with, that's a pretty color, but with, so I need a paper long enough to go around that. So I might take this book with me because I also need to go to a thrift store to see if I can find more books that are about this size. So paper, book, vinyl, we'll pick that up soon. I wanted to show you at Hobby Lobby, you have the iron-on vinyl. You have, I think, the permanent vinyl, a ton of those. And you have the, what is it? This is a lot of permanent vinyl. But we're looking for the removable vinyl. So I'll get that in the gold and also in black. And I end up picking the bigger roll of the black. I don't know if this brand is newer, but it works pretty well. It's not too sticky where it's hard to remove, but I'm going here to find some paper cardstock. So I'm looking for cardstock that I'll use to make the centerpieces. I just decided to grab the black pack. You know, when you're able to catch the sale at Hobby Lobby, the paper is 50% off, but this was the week for florals to be 50% off. Usually they overlap, they do either or every other week, right? So I wasn't lucky enough to have that, but I needed all this done. So I ended up just picking them up. I just grabbed a few. I think I did 4 of the black, 4 of the orange, just to have enough options when I get back to the event center on what to do. I have my list here that I'm marking off, checking off. I won't have to go to Walmart because I pretty much get everything I need here at Hobby Lobby. So I'm getting white paper as well. Now we need some twine. We have twine on the list because we need to tie the paper that says degree. So this was kind of a thicker one. I figured this 3-pack might come in handy later on. We only need black. So we have that. Now we're back in the office with the vinyl we just purchased, the black. I'm going to put it here on my mat and cut to the mat size because I designed everything so that it'll fit the whole mat. So I don't have to waste vinyl. The vinyl is not cheap, so I try to maximize the use. And I'm putting the tape back so it doesn't unravel. Now let's move on to the floor. I still need to arrange a space in my office for the Cricut to do this, but I'll rather do this and store it away than have an extra table and more clutter. I just don't like too many things around. We're taking off all the excess vinyl, then we'll start working on wrapping all the books. So I ended up with 3 different papers to wrap. This is actually a gift wrap, and I'm using it for this particular book that already has a removable cover on it. You'll see maybe 3 or 4 ways how I wrap these books, but I'm using this as a marker. Pretty much will just replicate the exact thing that they did with that paper. That paper is thicker than this orange paper. I initially got a different paper and saw this one and thought this is the exact orange I need. But the funny thing is I put that vinyl I just cut that says class of 2025 right underneath it. And I don't even notice that I cut the C off of it, but I'll show you that later, and I'll show you also how I fix it. So now I'm aligning that paper, the orange one I just cut, with the cover of the book, and we're just going to fold the orange over it and use some tape to keep it in place. Roll it to the back and do the exact same thing. So that's one way you can do this. But if you have a book that does not have the cover like this one, I'm kind of measuring the book so that when I stack them, they're symmetrical, right? I don't want a small book on the bottom of a big book. It will just look awkward. So I decide to go with this book that has no removable cover, just plain. I'm going to try to wrap it. That's when I noticed that I cut the C. But again, I'll show you how to fix it when you're putting it on your backdrop. So I measure it, trace it, and then I'll cut this off. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing. But instead of picking up just the cover, we'll pick up a little more of the book, of the pages. That way it holds it well in place. And I taped it in 2 places. So repeating that again, we're going to do the back portion. I'm just making sure it's aligned, and I kind of roll it till I get it tight enough before I tape it. Last method, because I don't want to waste the paper, I don't want to have to cut that tiny strip that overlaps on the book. I'm just going to fold that in and then fold the corners down and cut that edge off and fold that in, kind of like you wrap a present. So this is my least favorite method. I'm just putting that out there. It takes too much time to have to fold and do all that. The other method was a lot easier. I'm sure you can tell that by now. But if you want it to look more complete, especially with the edge there, then you can do this. You just wrap the whole cover. So we have this method and this paper type. So the white books are a fully thicker cardstock than the black. I had a more fun time with the black actually to wrap the books that were black. They turned out really nice, and it was kind of that matte elegant black. I'll show you that when we get to the black books. But I have a total of 12 books because each table is going to have 3 books, and we have 4 tables. So this is the black vinyl with the words, all the subjects or classes that are going to go on the books. So I'm scoring. It took a lot of time to get those tiny, tiny letters off, but here I am getting each one off. I'll use more black than I will use the white. The white is going to go on the black books, but the black is going to go on the orange and the white books, if that makes sense. And you'll see that shortly. I'll show you my stack of books. This is the 2025. I'm scoring all that black vinyl there you see on the table has all the vinyl already cut out. So I'm cutting one piece at a time and just scoring it. This is the congratulations. We split it in 2. If your design is too long, I'll link the video, or you can check out my video that shows you how you can split a backdrop if it's too big. That's the Daniel. And here we are with the white. So this was the most difficult to wrap because the paper was a very thick cardstock. So it took a lot to bend it. And when you folded it, the crease wasn't smooth, but we just had to make it work. I tried to align it, but this doesn't really matter because you're going to fold that in anyways. So I have to really work at it with the book. So I'm using the method because this book already has a cover. I'm just putting it over the cover. It's just hard to work with. I'm trying to fold it, but it's not straight. So I'm trying to align everything. I grab this ruler. The ruler dirties the paper. So I decide to not do that anymore. At least it's on the inside. So I have that part aligned. I'm taping it down, flipping the book over, then using the edge of the book to help fold the book. And because it's lifting a little bit, we're just going to put the speaker over it. Now onto the black. I wrap the others off camera. We'll just trace our black book. This was the easiest, smoothest one because I'm aligning it to the book, but also I decide not to overdo an accurate because books have the fold, so you can just fold it and it folds all the way in. So this was fine. I just put that on and taped down on both sides, did the back as well, and that was done. So I had 12 of those, completed those, and we are going to move on to our backdrop here in just a second. Oh, we need to make our centerpieces, but first we're going to finish the books. These are all the subjects. I have my transfer tape. I'm cutting to size because obviously I have to transfer one subject at a time. I can't pick up just one of the 3. I actually did 3 each. So I am cutting the transfer paper narrow so it'll pick up just the letters, but I end up actually just cutting the letter as well so that it's easy to just pick up that one word. Prepping for my centerpieces, I have my caps cut out. We're just taking them off and the Daniel is cut out. I'm aligning them here so that I can put the glue, but I want to make sure the D or the L touch part of the cap so that it doesn't get flimsy. I am not that great at this, but I can make it work. I just this is not something I do every day. It's exciting to make something new, but if it's something you're not used to making, it definitely takes a longer time. But I feel like maybe there's a different fabric, not fabric, sorry, there's a different paper that holds better. I don't know. If you have tips, let me know. But the Daniel wasn't as sturdy as I would have wanted it. The cap turned out great because the paper too was thick, but the D is the same. It's just that it's cursive and the words are a little thinner, I guess, so than obviously the hat. But I'm aligning parts of it, not just putting the glue on all of it. I'm just putting sections so that I can align it before I move on to the next letter. Once that is done, we are going to put a cover over the stick that we put to hold everything in place. So that was my method for that black line. I just put a strip of glue and I'm going to hold that in place. And that is close to being done. We just need to cut off the excess on the bottom. And then I'll show you, I use the card holders. You can find them on Amazon to align that part of the stick in the middle. There's a little groove on the card holder that holds it nicely in place. So I'm tying some ribbon because festive, just a little splash and fun. Since it's a boy, I didn't want to put a bow. I could have tied a nice bow on the bottom if it was Danielle, but we have Daniel, so we just do like the splash of ribbon. That way it's still showing celebration, but this was tricky as far as covering that name. I'm curling the ribbon upside down so that it goes downwards because I try to adjust it away from the Daniel. That is me cutting off that excess, taking off that card holder, and we're just gonna slide that in from the sides. Was what I found to be easier. That's the groove I'm talking about, so your stick stays in place. The yarn we bought, we just double tie right here, and then we're going to use some hot glue to hold it onto that black portion and keep it at an angle. It doesn't all have to be straight. Now Richard is ironing. Sabi is putting a few chair covers on the chairs. We're going to start with the lettering, then we'll add our balloons. So with the lettering, I have to make sure they are aligned. So I call Sabi to help me hold the leveler so I can put the congrat on the top. But because I know it's long and I need space on the right side for balloons, I have to move it all the way to the left so that it's legible when I finish. Now we have to add ulations on the next to that. This is hard because it has to be straight, it has to be aligned, and we are done. Easy peasy, not quite, but the editing makes it look that way. So we're adding Daniel. Stay tuned for our next video. We're actually using, I don't know if I'll post the next one, but we're going to use this same backdrop. Coincidentally, the event that I used this for, there was another event the weekend after. All they wanted was, in place of Daniel, they wanted graduates, and I installed that. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos, because once I post, they'll let you know that I posted and you can watch the other tutorials. Moving on to the balloons, I'm inflating the 5 inches. I'm creating pairs, and 2 pairs make a quad for my filler balloons. Next, we're moving on to our main garland, where I do 2 of the 11 inches, 1 11 1 16, 1 11 1 16. So 2 16s and 4 11s for the main part of the garland. But I do like to create a tapered look. So I'm creating 6 balloons, 11 inches, so that the top of my garland looks thinner. I don't like when it's all thick from the top down. I just don't like that look because it makes the top look improportional to the backdrop. So I'm creating those 6 in the 3 colors we are using. Do you have anyone graduating this year? Let me know in the comments who. Congratulations to them. It's such a pleasure for me to decorate full events because I feel like I'm able to make the whole event special for the guests who booked the venue. I am inflating the orange balloon, the 11 inches. I'm creating a cluster with 6 of those to add to the white and black, and this is going to go at the top of the garland to create that tapered look. For the rest of the balloons, we're going to have 2 16 inches and 4 of the 11 inches, and then you're going to alternate your garland the way you like. You can design how you like. I like to create a pattern so there's an even distribution of the colors across the garland, and it's pleasant to look at in my eyes, but you can design however you like. There's no right or wrong way. Once all of the garland is assembled, we're going to use our Walmart heavy duty clips. I love those. They've served me really well with my wooden backdrops. That is what they look like. I am going to use those to attach them onto the backdrop. You can either use a 260Q or rubber bands. A 260Q would hold tighter. The rubber bands are great, easy to use if you're doing an indoor install, which is what we're doing today. When attaching your garland, you want to attach from the top down so that if you need to add more clusters, you can do so easily from the bottom.